The Nobel Prize in Chemistry was just awarded to 3 computer scientists who taught computers how to predict the shape that proteins would fold themselves into. I know, this sounds fascinating, right? But trust me, this has huge implications for our health. Proteins are more than just chicken and steak. There are millions of them, and each one has a different job, based in large part upon the final shape, three-dimensionally speaking, that it folds itself into. You've got your muscle-bound proteins, like actin and myosin, that are used to help us flex and move. There's the enzyme proteins, like lactase, that break down the milk sugar lactose, which is a lifesaver for those of us who are lactose intolerant. And then there's proteins like insulin that deliver signals keeping our blood sugar in check, and we've even got antibody proteins that fight off those nasty invaders like bacteria and viruses. Each of those functions is determined by the complex three-dimensional shape that the protein folds itself into. And while scientists have understood the basics of what causes a protein shape to come about, it's been about on the level of saying a house has 4 walls and a roof. That's true, but it doesn't really prepare you to build one. Now, these brilliant minds, Demi Hassabis, John Jumper, and David Baker, used artificial intelligence to create a program they called AlphaFold. After it analyzed the 200 million known proteins, this program was able to predict how proteins will fold themselves based on the enzymes that are put in. But they didn't stop there. The latest version of AlphaFold, AlphaFold 3, is now able to reverse engineer a protein by starting with the final shape and then figuring out what amino acids are needed to make that shape. That means that researchers can custom design proteins to fight specific diseases and create brand new medicines, even medicines designed for a single individual. AlphaFold is now owned by Google, which recently started a project called Isomorphic Labs to work directly with pharmaceutical companies for that exact purpose. We may not have flying cars and personal jetpacks, but this is definitely starting to move us into that science fiction territory. And sticking with the personalized health theme, ever wonder why the diet that your friend swears by leaves you feeling awful? A lot of that comes down to the individual microbiome, the flora in your gut, and how that particular set of flora interacts with different foods. Researchers at Yale just mapped out, for the first time, 150 food compounds and how they interact with and even reshape the microbes in certain individuals while having little or no effect on others. While there's been a lot of research into macronutrients like fiber and how they can affect the gut, very little was known about the enormous number of smaller food compounds and how the different gut bacteria respond to them. Andrew Goodman, the researcher at the head of this particular lab, said, quote, "We were surprised by the level of variability. The same dietary compound could dramatically reshape some individuals' gut microbial communities while having almost no impact on other people's microbiomes," unquote. This new microbe map is one of the first steps toward beginning to be able to predict how a person's gut will respond to different foods without the trial and error anecdotal experiences that we have today. Imagine being given personalized dietary advice based on what your gut actually likes. This research is paving the way for personalized nutrition plans that help us manage health risk and conditions. You'll know exactly what you should eat and what you should avoid without the late-night stomach gurgling experiences. On the downside, this will make church potlucks a lot less fun.